Welcome back, Doug Burson, CPA, and today we're going to talk about Social Security. I get the question all the time, when should I start taking Social Security? So this series, we're going to do a two-part series. In this series, we're going to address that. This first part is going to be on reasons to take it early. The second part will be on reasons to wait. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Subject. Now, right up front, I just want to make sure we understand that this isn't just something that we can decide on a whim or based off of a video. You need to take the time to look at your unique situation and make sure you think about all the different factors, because this is not necessarily an easy thing. For some of you, there's only one option. I get that. But if you've got many moving pieces, you really need to take the time to think through that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with a few reasons why you should take it early. Well, number one is you're still working. So if you're still working a full-time job or even part-time if you're a higher earner and you're making more than $23,000 in 2025, you're going to have to start paying it back. So why would I take Social Security if I got to pay it back? How does this work? Well, for every $2 you earn above the limit, you got to pay $1 back. So very quickly, you're going to have to pay it back if you make very much at all. So therefore, to me, that's one of the most obvious ones. If you're still working, this just may not make sense. Well, let's just say you're burned out at work. You've just been doing this forever. You're tired. You don't enjoy it anymore. You've got enough money in the bank that you feel that you're okay for retirement. And this gives you that extra amount that you're going to need to be able to do it comfortably. Well, if that's the case, then maybe taking early is the right decision for you, because that extra 20, 30,000, whatever it is that you're going to get is going to get you over the hump to where you can go ahead and relax. That's actually maybe a really good reason, because why not enjoy that money while you're still healthy enough to use it? And there'll be more points on that subject here in a minute. But that's another one. If you're just burned out and you're done, maybe this is the right time. Now, we can't forget about our spouses. A lot of times we think about just, is this right for me? But one of the really big planning things we need to think about is spousal benefits. How does this impact my spouse? Because maybe your spouse was a lower earner. They didn't make as much as you did. And so once you start drawing, they can then draw on your benefits, and that can make a double benefit to your family. And so that's something to think about too that is often overlooked because people don't even understand they can do that. So spousal benefits is something we should really be considering when we're thinking about Social Security. Now, when I first got into financial advising, one of my mentors, because this is the question that I was getting a lot, said, well, all you have to know is you just got to tell me when their expiration date is. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, Social Security is easy as long as you know exactly when you're going to die. Fortunately, most of us don't. Fortunately, most of us don't know when we're going to die. And that's what makes Social Security planning so hard, because the longer you live, the more likely it makes sense, at least in a general rule, to go ahead and wait to start drawing it out. And just as a ballpark, for most people, the break-even point is somewhere between 78 and 80, 81, 82 for when it makes sense to either start taking early or to wait later to start taking Social Security. So to make that simple, if you die at 70, then we probably should have started taking it early. Not probably, we should have taken it early. But if you're going to live to 95 or 100 or 105 nowadays, which does happen more often than you would think, then it might have made a lot more sense to wait. Now, there are reasons that may not be true, but just as a general rule, if you're going to live longer than 80, it starts making sense to at least consider waiting. Now, let's be honest. When we're talking about Social Security, the main reason a lot of people do it is because you just need the money to live. We talked about the burnout, and that's one thing. But some people are just struggling to get by with inflation. Everything has gone up. It's so expensive to live. You're barely scraping by, or maybe not. You're going into debt or whatever it is, but you just need the money to live, or so you're not a burden on somebody else. Well, that's what the system's for. That's why we have it. And if that's you, then you can say wait all you want. You need the money. And if that's the case, you shouldn't feel guilty about that. That's what it's there for. Go ahead and take it early. and that's okay. Now, this next one's one I see a lot of people talk about and a lot of experts say you should do. And that is, if I'm a serious investor, I can do a lot better with this money than the government, because maybe I will collect an extra $100,000 by the time I get to full retirement age if I go ahead and start now, or whatever that number is for your particular case. And the reasoning is, well, if I can invest and make 6%, 9%, some people like to say 12%, but if I can make 9%, I'm going to be better off doing this myself, and that's going to help things out. Well, maybe you will. And maybe that's a really good strategy. Or maybe by taking this, it allows you to leave your primary investments alone so they can continue to grow. But what happens so often is, one, we don't invest it. We go ahead and spend it because now we got the extra money, and man, that steak dinner looks good. And oh, I need a new truck, which no, you don't, but you think you do. Those things start to happen in reality, and we spend it. So was it really smart? You need to talk that through and think that through and make sure it's right. But what if you make bad investments and you lose all of it? So if you really are a sophisticated investor or smart investor, or you have good advisors and you're being wise with it, maybe this will work out for you and it could be a good way to go, or maybe you have a good opportunity. But I just want to be very careful with this one. While it is a good reason to take it early, you need to make sure you understand the risk, because the Social Security return is, well, guaranteed, if we could say that. You know what I mean, though? We're going to get that 8% per year increase. That is there, that is set, at least for now. In the market or whatever you're doing, what if the market slows down? What if the company you thought was a sure bet isn't? Right? So be very careful with this. While you will see a lot of people promoting it, and I will too in the right case, just be careful, because so often we just spend it or we make a bad decision. And so just make sure you're doing this one for the right reasons and you know what you're talking about. And the next one I had is basically the same thing. Are you disciplined enough to invest, or will you just blow through it? I think I already said that, but I think that's important to think about. Are you really that disciplined, or are you really going to blow through it because I sure do like those fillets, or I really do want a nice bottle of scotch, or whatever your thing is? Make sure you're being smart about this. Now, this is one that I think we really should think about that maybe you haven't. What's your quality of life going to be? Right now, maybe you're healthy, or maybe based on family history, or diagnosis or something else, the next 10 years, I'm going to be able to do things, and after that, I'm not going to. And so maybe it makes sense for you to draw early so that you're going to have the resources to enjoy your life while you still can. We don't like to think about those things, but that's the reality. For some people, quality of life is going to drop really rapidly, and they know it because they've got certain conditions, health patterns in their family, whatever it may be. And we want to be able to enjoy life while we still can. If that's your situation, I think that may make a lot of sense, but it's kind of like the one before that. Make sure that's really your situation, and we're not just using that as a crutch. We want to be honest, very, very honest when we're looking at this. These decisions, once you make it, there's no oopsies, I forgot, I should have done it this way, can I take it back? This happens and it stays. So we want to be really, really diligent when we do this. But if that's your scenario, I think that could be a very good reason to take it early. Now, what's your family history? Going along that same line, did your parents die young? Do you have health issues? Maybe diabetes, maybe you have some weight issues, maybe you have whatever it is, but the chances of you living past 80 just don't look good. Once again, be careful that we're not using this excuses like some of the earlier ones, but if this is really, truly your situation, then it probably does make a lot of sense to go ahead and draw early, because I don't know if I've said this already, but the break-even point for most is around 78 to 80. And so really, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you can tell me when you're going to die, I can tell you exactly when to take Social Security, but we don't know. And with medicine today and all the other things that are going on, you may live a lot longer than you think. So we want to always plan with that in mind. But there you go. There's several reasons why you should take it early. We'll do some more on this and maybe explore some of these a little deeper and figure out how you can apply these in your situation, in your life. But really, this is not a video conversation. This is something where I would highly suggest you get with a real financial planner, talk about your situation, be honest about all the different scenarios, and do the best you can. Now, this was the take early. There's a part 2. I'm going to put a link to that right here. Make sure you come back for that because there's just as many reasons on why you should wait. So with that, I'll see you in the next video.